Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and hi everyone. I'm Akma Azlin binti Muhammad Zain, representing my group members. We'll be covering on our research paper entitled The Effectiveness of Color Coding Technique on English Learning of Diploma Engineering Students. Our group members are myself, Akma Azlin binti Muhammad Zain, and then Dr. Ajha bin Ahmad, Dr. Wan Iman Wan Salim, and Puan Sobeha Abdul Karim. This presentation will cover introduction, literature review, methodology, results and discussion, conclusion, references, and acknowledgement of the study. First of all, let me ask, do you know that we can learn English grammar using colors? Well, I'm here to enlighten you with our study. The study focused on language acquisition, especially parts of speech, which is the basic component of any target language learning, and of course the language being mentioned here is English. The focuses of the study are mainly on English grammar syllabus in the university, existing grammar learning strategies, as well as input enhancement as an effort to increase awareness. And ideally, undergraduates should be proficient in English language, especially after learning English for at least 11 years. However, SPM Analysis Report 2020 indicated otherwise, where the percentage of failed students found to be increasing as compared to the previous year, which suggests something needs to be done. If this scenario is left untreated, we might face a serious implication in the sense that more underqualified graduates will be produced in the aspect of English communication. This is of course worrying, especially when we are producing engineers who are required to be well versed in their profession. Thus, the study would like to address this issue by tackling the basic knowledge of English, that is parts of speech, as it is included in the syllabus for diploma engineering students with a chosen technique, that is color coding, under the input enhancement category. This study set out to answer the following questions. What is the role of color in English grammar learning on diploma engineering undergraduates? And what effects does color coding technique have on English grammar performance of diploma engineering undergraduates? The study also would like to present on the hypothesis which it was hypothesized that the use of color coding technique would be associated with an increase in English grammar learning, which concerns the performance of English grammar. The English grammar learning strategies in the current study are based on the relationship of cognitive theories, namely constructivism, scaffolding, input enhancement, and noticing. Thus, it maps out the theoretical framework that underlies the relationship between the variables in the research that are color coding and students' English grammar acquisition. The literature commences with discussion on discovery learning under the constructivist theory due to the nature of our undergraduates' learning style, which is more to self-learning, which the theory was coined by Jerome Bruner 1961. The study also presented an empirical research by MacLeod 2018, who outlined Bruner's constructivist theory on the idea that language learners can benefit from learning via appropriate and organized instruction with new content, which contrasts to the beliefs of stage learning theories, including Piaget. Learners are scaffolded with material that receives input enhancement is said to hold the hypothesis true that noticing can be increased among the learners, which is in this case referring to the undergraduates who spend time on independent learning. Moving on to the next theory is scaffolding by Vygotsky, specifically the zone of proximal development, ZPD, where emphasis is put on the social nature of learning, as learner skill development is possible to be achieved through the process itself. This is relevant to be included due to the nature of learning in university and other tertiary institutes where the undergraduates experience scaffolding by the lecturers or instructors with the prior knowledge that these students have. So this is different from school learning where teaching session is more prominent. The last theory that we would like to bring in is the noticing, which was introduced by Richard Smith in 1991, where learners must attend to and notice linguistic features of the input that they are exposed to if those forms are to become intake for learning, which is totally different from understanding alone. Researchers have used numerous approaches modifying the typographical elements of a written text in the field of textual enhancement, TE, to boost the perceptual salience of the intended grammatical form. And empirically, the study discussed the work by Scott, Ian Scott, 1968, Azarnush and Naini, 2016, as well as Bakshande and Jafari, 2018, which utilized input enhancement to increase the learner's awareness for the purpose of performance increase. The study then discussed on the previous research, which focused on color coding technique on various components of English grammar carried out by Doherty, 2016, Zulkifli and Faiz Mustafa, 2013, and Sahativan and Yamat, 2020. For the methodology, this study administered the two-group pre-test and post-test experimental design, where the diploma engineering students were randomly selected and placed in two groups, namely control and treatment groups. 20 students participated in the experiments and they were required to sit for pre-test with interval of 2 weeks given before they needed to sit for the post-test. The pre-test and post-test was done via quizzes, and there were 10 questions in each test, which required them to identify an underlined word to be in which part of speech or word order. An intervention was conducted as soon as the participants were done with the pre-test. It was textually enhanced material, which consists of notes on parts of speech given to both of the groups. The only difference was the control group received bold target form of words in black color, while the treatment group received color-coded target form of words to increase the awareness of the participants. As for the results and discussion, the participants' homogeneity was tested using independent sample t-test where the null hypothesis is accepted, as there is no significant difference in the score of the participants across both groups. To test the significance of the color coding intervention as a scaffold, univariate analysis of variance was conducted and found that the significant value of 0.00 indicates there was a significant difference on the post-test on both groups. Thus, H-null was not accepted. The findings were discussed, which are the experiment is valid as we ran the assumption on the homogeneity of the participants in pretest, and we accepted the H-null as no significant difference was detected among the participants. The post-test data analysis shows higher mean for treatment group to indicate better performance by the treatment group which received color coding intervention. The experiment data analysis is then supported with the result of another test that is a univariate analysis of variance for the post-test with value of 0.00 on 95% confidence interval of the difference. And lastly, we can say that noticing hypothesis is supported where it can be confirmed that learners noticed the parts of speech from the better performance in the post-test by the treatment group. The study was concluded by emphasizing the answering to the research questions as the higher score holds the hypothesis true, as it can be confirmed that the learners noticed the parts of speech, and color coding indeed has a significant effect on English grammar learning by increasing the performance of the participants. The study highlighted on color coding technique as a good starting point for discussion and further research to investigate the feasibility or long-term effects of color coding approach on sentence construction among undergraduates. These are the references. And as for the acknowledgement, from the bottom of our heart, we thank God, Alhamdulillah, for blessing us with wisdom, joy, and grace as we continue to grow. We are forever indebted to the participants of this study who took part in this research. Our profound appreciation and gratitude goes to the University of Kuala Lumpur, especially SDCL, for supporting us and camaraderie throughout our research. We are also grateful to our English unit colleagues for being constantly available as friends and for their words of encouragement and walking with us in the last leg of this journey. With this, we would like to thank all of you for lending your ears, and we would welcome any questions pertaining to our research. Thank you very much.